Hey everyone, welcome to Our Small Footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a large family living off-grid in Australia. This video is going to be in two parts, so it's going to be a little bit all over the place. The first half of the video was from Wednesday of last week, and today I am filming on a Tuesday. So they're about 6 days apart, and it's just a follow-up from the previous video that I did prior to going to Brisbane for mum's surgery and things like that. So I'm just going to catch them all up, finish the end product of what I filmed last week, and throw it all together. So this first half, as I said, is from Wednesday last week, and then I will come in now, but at the halfway mark, to continue on with the rest of the updates. Alrighty. It is Tuesday. Sorry, no, it's Wednesday. And I've got to leave in a couple of hours. So I really need to get the last few things done before I go. One of those things is the lemon chung. I've decided I'm going to do it because I want to get this in the jars to settle while I'm gone. The other thing is that I defrosted a whole bunch of chicken mince, so I need to do something with that because I don't want to refreeze it. So first thing first, I've got lemons. Now, to make lemon chung, you use them with the skin on and everything. So what you have to do is you have to give them a wash. It's baking powder, not baking soda. So I've got some bicarb here, and I'm going to sprinkle some in here, and I'm also going to sprinkle some salt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some water in that, and I'm going to give them a scrub with soft scourer to make sure they're clean. I also need to sterilize some jars. And because this is going in the jars, it needs to be sterile to make sure that the nothing else contaminates it, because we're not canning it as such. So I'm going to get these washed, and I'm going to do that first up. So I'm going to go and put some water in this, give these all a quick soft scrub, and then I will get a pot of water, and we'll put cold water in it with some jars, and we'll just bring it up to the boil from cold. I'm just going to start with 2 quart jars. So as I said, I've got water in a pot. And I'm hoping these 2 quart jars fit in because I don't have anything else clean yet. So those 2 quart jars are going to fit in the pot, and I'm going to sterilize these. Now with lemon chung, it's a Korean lemon sauce, and what you do is it's 1:1 sugar to lemon slices, and then it's put in a jar and it's left to macerate for a few days, tipping it upside down. Once it's all macerated, it can be stored in a cool, dark place indefinitely. Once you open it, it needs to be stored in the fridge. So I'm going to do quart jars because once it's stored in the fridge, it lasts pretty long too. But you can always strain it, tip it out, and freeze it too if you need to. And packing jars with lemon slices is not the easiest thing in the world if you don't use decent sized jars. So these quart jars will make it easier for me. So I'm just going to, as I said, I've got them in a pot that I'm bringing up to temperature. I will bring the water up to a boil and let them just sterilize to a degree. Obviously nothing is sterile once you pull it out. Like, it's only sterile while it's submerged. But they will be as clean as we can make them. I do have some the sanitizing stuff, but I'm not going to go that far. I've never had any problems before. So we're going to sanitize those. So I do need to slice the lemons up though, but I also need to do something with this chicken. I think I'll quickly slice the lemons first. Right, so these have all been given a gentle scrub and rinse. We can take the ends off them, and then we're going to slice them really nice and thin. Now we don't want any seeds, so we're going to pull any seeds out if we see them as we slice. And we don't have to be overly pedantic, but we do want them fairly thin. Remove the big pithy bits at the end. And we're going to end up 1:1 of sugar, okay? So basically, it looks like these might be seedless. We're going to put, say, let's see if we, kilo and a half of lemons. Let's see how much we've got here. hands are awfully cold doing this. So each lemon has been just over 100 grams so far. So
Yeah, I know it's just because I took a poo just then, so.
All right, so I got 1.5 kilos of lemon slices, so I need to add 1.5 kilos of sugar. Now, we do use raw sugar in this household, and I could potentially grind it up a little bit to make it macerate a little quicker, but I'm not overly concerned. So we're just going to then put same amount of sugar, and the sugar is the preserving here. It's no different than making a jam. Jams have 50-50. When I make jam, I don't do 50-50 because I use low methyl ester pectin so that I don't have to. But this isn't eaten like a spread. This is eaten as a drizzle over, you know, the chicken that I did the other day with the potato starch crumbing. This sauce is amazing over that. Now, ideally I'd be doing this with a spoon, but I don't really have anything that, maybe one of my big metal spoons would work. But my hands were sanitized as well with the washing of the onions, and I put a little extra sugar. I just remembered you're not supposed to use metal with this at all. Remember that now. So I've got a spatula, which will be fine. It'll start to macerate pretty quickly, and all we're going to do is we're going to evenly put it in the jars once the jars are sterilized. So, and then we'll put it in the jars once the jars are sterilized. So we're just going to put that aside. I'll put a silicone cover over it and let it sit, and we'll come back to that one. In regards to the chicken mince, I'm going to go really super simple. I have these that I bought and I haven't had a chance to use yet. So I've got here 3 kilos of chicken mince. Normally when I do wontons or spring rolls or something, I do them veggie based. I would cook up a bunch of cabbage and I would use grated carrots and all that sort of thing. But the thing is that you need to cook that up before you add it, because it just doesn't, they don't cook for long enough for that to work. So I'm just going to go with this super simple standard basic Chinese ones that are pretty much just the meat filling, and make it work. Now, for some reason, I don't have much in the way of bowls in my that are clean, and I don't know where, I'm just not sure where things are. It's driving me a bit nuts, to be honest. So we'll just mix up half at a time. So we're going to go, as I said, super simple. We've got 1.5 kilos here. So we're going to do some garlic and onion, garlic and ginger. We'll go with, say, I'm going to go with 75 grams, I reckon. Nice big heaping tablespoon and a half. Yeah, that's about 80 grams. I think I'm going to stick with that. We're going to go with some soy sauce. All right, and I'm going to do about 60 mils of that. All right, now I'm going to add some gochujang paste if I can find it, which I did have it. I need to ask a child where it is. Some toasted sesame oil, which again we'll add about 80 to 90. I really should have got a bigger bowl. My jars have been simmering for a while now too, so they're ready to go. 80 to 90 of that. We're going to do some onion flakes because I don't have any scallions. I might just do a sprinkle of onion powder just to give it a little bit of that oniony. Then we need some starch. So I've got potato starch here. We'll start off with about 80 grams, and then we will see how we go. This bowl is really not suitable for this, is it? Because I can't find any chopsticks either, because normally I would mix this up with chopsticks. And this bowl's not going to work. It's just one of those mornings. Let's just transfer it to a Cambro. Still not going to be the easiest thing to mix because it's not round, but we will manage. And what you want to do is you want to create a stickiness in it. So we're going to mix this up a little bit. Now let me see if I can find that gochujang. I cannot for the life of me find it. So I'm just going to leave it out, and what we'll do is we'll make the dipping sauce spicy if that's what we're using. So we're going to add some starch to it. For this quantity, it was about, we're going to start with about 80 starch, and then we need some egg whites. And now if only I had thought about this yesterday, I could have left some egg whites out to use, but I didn't think about it yesterday, so I'm going to have to crack some more egg whites to use, and I'll use these yolks in some mayo or something. It's now 11 o'clock, so I'm running out of time. All right, so we've got 3 egg whites in there, and then we're just going to mix this, do it in the same direction, normally with chopsticks, and you've got that starch and that egg white in here, and it's going to end up being a bit of a sticky amalgamated mess. That's the idea, so that it holds together in the wontons. All right, so we've got this like sticky, gluggy mess. That's what we're after. All right, now now we have to shape the wontons. I bought square ones because they're just super easy to do. Can be used in soups and stuff too, which is how we use them a lot. I love them fried, but that's a lot of effort. So all we're going to do is pull some of these out and get myself a finger dip bowl tray to put my fancy baking paper on. There we go. I will put a tiny bit of starch in my dipping water, and I'll just put a bit here that I can use if need be. All right, now what are we doing? We're going to just mix that starchy water up a little bit. And we're going to go the simplest folds possible, which I don't know what it's called. Looks like a little bonnet to me, but we grab a tablespoon, and then we're going to wet the edges. I'm going to pinch around the, I might need to scale down the filling a little bit for this size. So what we want to do is we want to get any air bubbles out, and then no, I've got too much filling in that one. Let's go again. Obviously this one, these ones are going to have to need a bit less. So this is a let's say a teaspoon. We're going to pinch it, get all the air bubbles out, and then we're just going to, man, I'm struggling today. Wonder why that is. And then we just wet the corners and pinch them together. And we have this little soup dumpling type thing, but we're gonna improve on that because that was not very good at all. This is usually the case with this sort of thing. Once you get a rhythm going, they go much quicker. So I'm 60 in. I bought 120 of the wonton wrappers, but I've just opened one pack and there's some mold on it. So I'm going to toss that packet because I just don't trust it. So I'm going to do this last 30, and then I'll use the other mince. If it needs more than that, but I don't think so. So we've got 60 done. I'll do these 30 with the rest of the mince, and obviously I'm just not going to have time, and I don't have any more wrappers to do the other half of the mince. I think I will give direction on how to make the udon noodle stir fry for dinner tonight, and they can have that with the chicken mince. That will work quite well. So as I said, you do have to be careful. You can get overzealous with the filling because you want them to have lots of filling. Not only would it go faster, but it's a lot of pastry to filling. So you do have a tendency to get a bit overzealous with the filling, especially as you go through towards the end. So you do have to make sure to just use that teaspoonful, or they just don't stay closed. But it definitely gets easier to fill them the more you do, because you just get the rhythm going. So teaspoon in the middle, liquid, pinch from the inside out, a little bit of liquid on one corner, tuck and press. So I am getting through them pretty quickly, but it is still also 10 to 12. So, you know, I still need to put the lemon chung in the jars too. So I need to get this done and the raw meat cleaned up, and then I'll do the lemon chung, and then we will head off. Darryl is just moving the new stove that he just picked up into the house, and the animal feed that he just bought out to the animals using the little tractor thing, which you could probably hear in the background. And the kids are just in class. So anyway, definitely got a lot faster at it. They're still not superbly uniform, but they work. And yeah, I'll do this last 30, and then I'm going to put them straight in the freezer. I'm just going to flash freeze them, and then they can be used anytime from frozen. Got a little overzealous, see, on the filling on that one, and so you have to repinch the top of it. So yeah, I'm just going to keep going. All right, 90 done. I'm going to throw this whole tray in the freezer. I've got a little bit of mince left here that I'm just going to cook up in a pan, and I'll eat it because I haven't eaten yet today. And then I'm going to come back, clean up, and fill the lemon chung jars. All right, so we've got our sterilized jars, and we've got our lemon chung. So the sugar's already started dissolving in here. I've just washed my hands in the hot sterile water from the jars because it's going to be easiest to just start placing these, and I'd say I'll need another jar or two. Just going to fill the jars, and we're going to pour the liquid over the top as well. And we want it firm, but not too firm, because it's the juice that we want out of it. So now, yeah, I'm gonna need probably another 2 jars, so just a sec. All right, so I ended up with 3 quarts, and I've got a wide mouth pint here as well that I'm gonna use. Headspace isn't a huge issue because you're not canning it, but I also don't want it too empty. But this smaller one, we can just use that straight away, and the 3 bigger ones look pretty good to me. So I've poured all the excess sugar and juice that it had already created into the jars, and now I'm just using that boiling water to clean the rims, because we don't want any mold forming on the rims of the jars. And I will give the outsides of the jars a really good clean as well once I have a lid on them, so I just don't risk getting water in the jars. It's a bit of a messy job getting it all in the jars appropriately. All right, So there we go. So we got those 3 jars that will create all their own liquid. Can always top them up with a bit of lemon juice if needed, but we will see how we go with that, and the smaller one as well. And I will leave them here while I'm gone, and then when I come back they should be ready to go in the fridge pretty much. Okay, so it has been 6 days since that section of video. This is what the lemon chung looks like. So it's this gorgeous yellow liquid in these jars. Now, the issue is that these jars are not full enough because of the level of syrup over these lemons. I would prefer them to be fuller. We also have some sugar that hasn't dissolved in the bottom of a couple of them. So what I should have done when I was making this on that last section of video, I did say that I thought maybe I needed to jam it in a little bit further, but instead I put some in a small jar. Now, realistically, I probably should have just jammed this into the other jars, but I don't think I'm going to have, even with this, I think that the jars are a little too empty. Let me bring you down. A little too empty even for that jar to be enough. So what I've done is I've washed a couple of, it was these clean skinned lemons here. I washed them up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to top up these jars. Now, rather than slicing this up, mixing it up with the even amount of sugar and then trying to transfer it into the bowls, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice up a lemon, weigh the amount of lemon, place it in a jar, place that little bit of sugar in there. The whole idea with this is that once it's done, you don't open it until you're ready to use it. But I believe that by opening it and adding all this in, this nice clean washed lemon, more fresh lemon juice, more fresh sugar, we should be fine, especially in the temperatures that we're in at the moment. So that is the plan. Clean board, clean lemons, these jars here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to slice up some lemon like I did last time, take the ends off it and then slice it nice and thin, and I'm going to weigh it, like put a jar on the scales, weigh the amount of lemon, and then add that relevant amount of sugar straight into the top of the jars, and then we'll just shake it and let it do its thing. I think that's a lot easier than like tipping this out, reorganizing it through the different jars and stuff, and just trying to distribute it evenly, because that is the challenge, is distributing it evenly through all the bottles and making sure that there's enough in each jar. And I think last time I did do that. I think last time I packed the jars with the lemons and then like layered it, like I put lemon, sugar, lemon, sugar, lemon, sugar, and layered it through. But I decided to do it the way that most of the recipes tell you to do it this time, which is to do it in a bowl and then put it in the jars. But I'm not as happy with that method because I feel like the sugar was not distributed as evenly between all the jars, which is why a couple of the jars still have sugar crystals in the bottom, is because there wasn't enough lemon juice to get it dissolved. It will dissolve eventually, and sugar crystallized in the bottom is not going to hurt anything. But yeah, so I'm just going to finish slicing these ones up because I already did a salt and bicarb wash of these half a dozen. And I'm going to grab the sugar jar, and we're just going to see how it works doing it this way. So let me grab the sugar and my scales. All right, so we've got raw sugar, scales, and I'm just gonna crack it open, place it on the scales. All right, let me just give my hands another rinse, and then we're gonna do this. So all I'm gonna do is shove that in. I need a clean cloth or something. All right, I just washed a spatula up, so I'll use that to shove it in. Not that I'm on camera real well there, am I? All right, so that's 100 grams of extra sugar, extra lemon, and 100 grams of extra sugar. So what I'm going to try doing is just sticking the lid straight on and giving this. Now, because this is a canning jar, I'm going to leave it upside down for a little bit, let that sugar touch the liquid, and we're going to do the same thing. There we go. So we got 100 grams of lemon again. And 100 grams of sugar. So we're just going to do the same thing. Lid on. I'm going to tip it upside down, and we're going to see how we go. And this one was only sort of half full, so it might need... My scales are missing a feet. They still work pretty accurately, but not as good as I would like. The Harris Scarf actually has a big sale on at the moment, and they have some expensive OXO scales for half price. So I'm thinking I might grab myself a splurge on those, since I got these extra commissions and stuff for the Thermomix and stuff. So I did 150 grams in that one because it was a little bit more empty. And 150 grams of sugar, and we're just going to do the same thing. So over the next few days, because of the cooler weather and stuff, I'm comfortable letting this work its way through for another 5 days or whatever it needs. So all I'm going to do is shake it every day. So I might leave it tipped upside down for tonight, tip it back the other way. I'm not 100%, it's not great that it's touching the metal lid. It can impact the flavour a little bit, which I didn't think about. I should have put plastic lids on these, but they won't seal as well as the metal lids do. So, and then I'm just going to do the last one. Same thing. Did you hear that pop when it opens too? So that's a good sign for them sealing quite well, even though they're not sealed as such. Up to 120. And again, same deal. Just going to mix it all up. So that's those done. I'm much happier with the levels on those. They should come up to the rings on it, should be fine. That sugar will dissolve and will end up being liquid, and yeah, so happy with that. All right, that is done. The wontons that were in the beginning of the rest of the video, I haven't cooked them up yet. I'll probably do that sometime this week. I'll remember to record it when I do it. I might do it with some ramen or something. So that is cool. The egg yolks were the other things that I need to show you. So let me grab them out. All right, so the salt cured egg yolks. This is what they look like. They're quite firm to touch, covered in salt. Now, there's a few different techniques for the last of the drying of them, okay? Last time, I'm pretty sure all I did was I wrapped them in cloth and hung them in the fridge and let them dry out completely. But on reading a lot of things, a lot of the methods are to have them at 160 degrees for an hour, just to give them that last bit of cook. Now, we did have an incident with these. Someone tipped the whole container over, which I'd say is why there's some yellow in the salt. I would say that a couple of them got broken a little bit, which I don't know how that's going to affect things, because all the stuff that I read where they put them in the oven, they rinsed them first. Whereas in the method that I used last time, we just brushed them off as much as possible. And then when they get dried off, the salt falls off even more because they're dry. So this salt, as I said, is reusable. There's no more in here. At the moment, it's moist with a few bits of egg in it, so it needs to be made sure to be cooked and heated to a high temperature. So laid out on a baking tray and cooked in the oven to make sure that nothing can live in this. For the moment, because I've got that extra freezer, what I would probably do is just put the lid on it and stick it in the freezer, and then that way nothing's going to grow in it. In regards to the egg yolks, I think I might go with my normal method first. So let me wash my hands. So what I'll do is I'll start off with my normal method, which is a clean cheesecloth, or this is a flour sack tea towel. And all we did was we placed it in and we wrapped it up. So each one was sealed individually, and I will get a some rubber bands or something, and all we did was wrapped them all up and placed them in the fridge to dry out even more, preferably like on a rack or hung or something, so I'll figure that out, and so none are touching. So I'm looking for the gaps between them and just placing them. I've got more here than I've made room for. So let's just shift some of these so they're on different layers of cloth. There we go. So these are quite firm to the touch, but they still have a bit of give in them. And once they were dried, what we found was that they were firm because you can grate them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab a clean rack, and all I'm going to do is put them on the rack and put them back in the fridge. So that's the next step for those. And then I'm going to assess the texture of them after that drying process, see if I can brush a bit more of that salt off, and then I might do it in the dehydrator. The weather has been really bad lately, so running the dehydrator is not the best option. So I might leave them for a few days, see what the texture looks like, see if I can brush some more of that salt off, and then perhaps run them in the dehydrator at 160 for an hour or two first thing in the morning, during like Friday maybe. So that's another 3 days in the fridge like this, and then I'll reassess them. So that's the cured egg yolks. Hopefully they'll be all done by, say, Sunday cook with me, and maybe I'll make that Thermomix pasta dish again that I've been trying to make, and try Mum on it because she'll be here, and we'll do some grated egg yolks over the top of it. Next thing to finish off. So, as I said, I fed my starter the other day. Look at this lovely bubbly mess, even with the temperatures as they are. So I'm going to mix up just a simple boulet. We'll see how we go with it. I might stick it in the... What am I making for dinner? I'm not planning on using the oven at all tonight for dinner or anything, so I might just stick it in the oven with the pilot light all night and see how it goes. So I'm going to mix a standard batch of my just boulet type dough up. Actually, Sonnet has been wanting to make the lemonade again since we have lemons. So we're going to do that first. We're just going to find, was it this one that which one did you make? Do you know?
I think it's that one.
That one? So let's have a look at what the recipe says. So we look up lemonade. It's got 1,000 grams of chilled water, 100 grams of sugar, and 2 to 3 lemons. So that's the one. Sound right? All right, we've got a board here that we had lemons on already. So just going to rearrange, as we always end up having to do. Okay, and it's we'll start this one.
It's skin on lemons.
Yeah, we'll just take the very knobbly bits off because they're normally quite bitter. So 240 grams of lemons, or 2 to 3 lemons. I've got some slices here that didn't go in the lemon chung.
Oh.
There we go, that's close enough. 250. All right, we'll tick that one off. 500 grams of chilled water. Alrighty, so that one ticks off, and 100 grams of sugar. Did it need more, or was 100 grams enough?
Add a little bit more.
A little bit more, so we'll go say 120.
Yep.
Whoops, 130, all good. Next, then we need to, do you want to give that lid a quick rinse? I don't think it's been washed properly. We'll just give that lid a quick rinse. And then it says 2 seconds, speed 10. And it says next. And then it says to add another 500 grams of chilled water.
I'll go get some water.
500 grams of chilled water. And then next, now it wants you to just strain it out. I think I'm going to blend it just a little bit longer because we added that. I'm just going to do 5 seconds on 10 just to give it that last boost because we used raw sugar, not caster sugar as well. So I just want it to have that little bit of extra time. And that's what it is. So what it said was to use the simmering basket to strain it, but we'll probably just use...
Strainer.
Do we have this, the small metal ones in the second drawer over there? You know, the round one with the fine bits, or... All right. And pour it back in the jar and you'll put it in the fridge. Do you need a hand? Are you right?
I'm gonna go grab it.
You shouldn't need a funnel. It should be narrow enough that it shouldn't be an issue. There you go. So you're going to put it in the fridge to chill and have it with dinner?
Yep.
So that is the Thermomix version of lemonade. So Sonnet wanted to make that while we had lemons out. And now I will go back to mixing up this sourdough. So we're just going to do a really basic standard loaf. This is a bit dusty. I'm just going to wipe it out. Alrighty. So all I do is I add 75 grams of starter. Nice bubbly fluffy starter, just like that, which leaves me with just a smear in the bottom of the jar to feed. We can do 350 grams of water, just like that, and 500 grams of, just double checking my recipe that I haven't used for a while, 75, 350, 500. So because it's coolish at the moment, the 75 grams, I do drop that down to 50 when needed. And we want a bit of salt. Where's my salt? 10 grams of salt. And then I'm just going to bring this all together. And I will do some coil folds over the span of the next few hours before letting it bulk proof overnight in the oven, and then I'll theoretically shape and refrigerate it tomorrow. We'll see how we go. So rough together to begin with, and then I will come back and bring it together better afterwards. So I think this one's too small. Yep, I need to find one of the bigger ones, and I'll just put a silicone cover on it and I'll come back to it. I need to feed the starter too. And before I get started on dinner, because I've still got all these lemons that I'm working with, I'm going to make a couple of quick batches of low carb lemon bread. Darryl can take some with him if he wants that way. So all we're doing is, it's a really rough sort of a, there's 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. So we've got 4 cups of almond meal. We're going to put some sweetener in here. We will just do one, and then we're going to add some baking powder. 2 tablespoons because we're doing 2 loaves. A little bit of salt. Just like that. And then we're going to do one and a bit cups of coconut. So half, 1. We're going to try this with a whole tin. I haven't made this in a really long time and I really don't remember how much I put of everything in here. But if 2 loaves works out to be a tin, then that's handy. And then we want lemon juice. So we're going to want lemon juice from a few lemons. Now, I did get a lot of comments about juicing my lemons, about rolling them on the bench. I did actually do that last time. I just didn't show it on camera. So we want around about 120 mils of lemon juice. The other thing was suggested was using a fork as a reamer. I find holding forks firmly like that really difficult because of my hands, because of the carpal tunnel and stuff. We'll probably need 4 lemons worth, 2 per cake. I'm going to need 6 eggs because I want to use up some eggs, and I'm going to cut some, need to find my zester to grab some zest off these as well. Actually, I might zest the last one before I cut it because it's always easier to zest it beforehand. I think one of those ones that looks like a microplane or something would probably be easier for me to use to be able to turn the lemon rather than grip the zester, probably. And we've got 120 juice. It's just foaming up because of the acid with the baking powder. Just need to grab my eggs. Alrighty. We're going to do 6 eggs, 3 per loaf, as per usual, cracking them into a separate container, just in case. 2. And then after this, I will clean up and get ready to start dinner. So, 6 eggs. Very similar to my choc orange cake, but with lemon. And that's it. And we're going to put it into 2 of my bread tins. Smooth it out a bit. And we're going to stick those 2 in the oven. All right, and I'm going to clean up. These are the lemon loaves. They're still warm at the moment. You have to be fairly gentle with them. They're very much like the chocolate orange cakes, so they have a fragile, and because I didn't line the ends of the trays, it ended up sticking a little bit. But these are the lemon loaves, so we can let that cool and probably have a piece with some butter or something after dinner. And for dinner, we're doing the thighs with the skin on. So I've had them out defrosting all day, like in the fridge since last night, and they're still a little bit frozen, which is always the way. But all we do is we've got the skin on, we do them like the cracklin chicken from Nom Nom Paleo is what we always did them by, and that's basically we're just going to debone them, salt the skin, and then we fry them off in some ghee till the skin's really nice and crunchy, and the rest of the thigh is cooked, and that's it. And the dogs get the treat of these raw thigh bones, which they really enjoy. So that's everything for today. I will leave it at that so that I can get this edited for tomorrow morning. So I'm going to sign off on this one. It should be plenty long enough. And we will and I'll see you guys in the next one. Now, Mummy is here for the weekend, which will impact my filming a little bit, and my throat is still really sore. I went to the doctor's this morning just in case and got some antibiotics in case it's tonsillitis for if Darryl's gone, because I don't have a car while he's gone. So I've got them if I need it, but we will see. My throat is pretty bad though, so talking may not be my forte over the next few days. So I'm going to end this one here, and I will see you guys on the next one.